To give you my breakdown of the shooter in Colorado, this is what we know so far. So the brother said that they had immigrated here in 2002 from Syria. Now, Syria is a very war-torn area. It had a lot of ISIS and different Islamic extremist groups. Now, we know that this guy was a Muslim, and we don't know how radicalized he was. He did the couple things I did get from the CNN article today was okay. So they said that the brother said that he thought that he was being investigated, and people were watching him and following him, and around 2014. Now that was the height of the Syrian conflict. That's when ISIS was out of control and things were really getting bad. So we don't really know all the truth and the facts about what happened and the investigation into this guy. So there has to be a lot more. There has to be a complete release of everything that the DOJ and the FBI know about this person, because what's happening now is the disarming of law-abiding citizens. And this is one of the reasons why I think Utah passed its gun laws, concealed carry. So when your first line of defense is the person next to you or you know, and that we're all going to know that. And we have a lot of people coming here from all over the world. Some people from very war-torn areas. We don't know who their relatives are, who's influencing them. Do they have connections? The Facebook posts from this guy was taken down by social media. Should have been left up. We should have been able to investigate for ourselves what this man was about and why he thought he was being investigated. That's one of the biggest things. Through what I seen through high school, he was a wrestler. Seemed like he got shy during high school, but that could be his beliefs. Depending on the beliefs you have and how he couldn't get a girlfriend apparently, and one of the issues with that with certain religions are that women should be completely covered. They shouldn't be exposed in public. There's certain rights. So there's a lot of that needs to be exposed and immediately exposed to the public. We should have all the information on this guy, because this guy is going to affect the future of law-abiding Americans. And there's no news organizations and outlets that are willing to ask these questions. So what was his affiliation? His brother says this or his brother says that. But when CNN puts out there that his brother did say, and that this is hard for a lot of people to see because it's in the fine print, he thought he was being investigated, on top of being, his phone being hacked. So what was he thinking he's being investigated for? Was he becoming an extremist? Was he following extremist pages? Was he in contact with actual extremists in Syria? Did he have relatives that have died in the civil war that went on there? Was he on the side of extremists or the side of the government? These are things that we need to know. So the Department of Justice has their duty and their due diligence to provide this immediately to the public before legislation is brought forward that could change the freedom of the Second Amendment and the right to have and bear arms. So these are the questions that media companies should be asking. Is there a possibility in any way, shape, and form? And do we have proof? His social media, can we see everything he has? Because we have to do our own investigation. We rely on what the media is reporting. And, if you go against the narrative, what's going to happen to your post? Honestly, what's going to happen? We should be able to question this. And if we can't question it as individuals because of the lack of evidence now that's being shown to us by the Department of Justice and the FBI, we should be able to do our own investigation. We should go through his Facebook and be able to see what he was thinking up until the time of the shooting. And we're talking from the time he got his Facebook to whatever Twitter account, whatever he was on. We have to do our own investigation because we're relying on, mainstream media to do this for us. And the state of the media, which was even stated yesterday, is in peril. Media is dying. It's just dying, especially free press. I could sit and say I'm an actor all day long. I'm an actor. Everything I do is for show. And that's only because I can't report the news without the chance of being sued. So here at 45 News Utah, when something like this comes up, okay, we have a shooter that did this, we have a shooter that did this, What was their motive? And that needs to be investigated immediately and fairly reported. And we need to know all the information. This stuff should be available to every citizen in the United States, because this is going to affect legislation. Laws are passed in days and weeks, and executive orders are immediate. So we have to know what's going on with these people. What kind of drugs was he on? Was he on psychological drugs? Was it not reported to the Bureau of Criminal Identification? Because the BCI needs to know immediately if this guy's put on psychological drugs, psychotopic, whatever drugs. They're a disaster. I know people personally on them. They're a dangerous individual. This should never be allowed. They shouldn't have a gun. Once somebody's on psychotopic drugs prescribed by a doctor, that's a sign that they're hearing voices and people are following them. But when you read the fine print in these articles, that what media we have left that's free and isn't controlled by the media moguls, we're relying on individuals, trying to describe what's happening through their point of view with the lack of information, and they're feeding off of what CNN or mainstream media is giving the average individual. That's going to affect their lives. I mean, not to mention the lives of people who are lost. This guy's a complete dirtbag. He's fully beard, mustache. He's got, he may have terrorist connections. He may have gone to Islamic extremist group and started. We don't know. We only know we're going to be told by them, not by facts. There's no, we don't have that information. That's why 45 News Utah needs grants. We need money. I need to be out there going to, Colorado and talking to the Department of Justice and petitioning the FBI and saying, hey, you know what? We need to know the truth. Filing legal, claims to what we have the right to have as a free press. So as far as this guy's concerned, there's two troubling things that I read in the articles, and this is not conspiracy. A, he's fully bearded now, and all the times before, all the pictures I've seen before, he wasn't wearing a beard, and we do know that in Islam that is what you do. Before he wasn't. Does he have any connections? Does he have any connections at all to extremist groups? Was he thinking extremist? Was he, following ISIS's caliphate type, ideology? Secondly, he said he was being investigated. What was the reasoning for him thinking he was being investigated? Was he being investigated? What they say, no, there wasn't. That's, that information hopefully is being, but it's going to be straight from the media. It has nothing to do with you or me. You're not going to know. But what happened there in Colorado is going to affect you and future generations of Americans for the rest of our lives, due to an administration that will pass everything, to stop everybody that's a law-abiding citizen. Now, if Biden comes out and says, "Hey, I'm gonna ban anybody on psychotopic drugs," that'd be great. That's what you need to do. We need to ban people that are on psychotopic drugs. They shouldn't have a gun. They shouldn't. So that's my take here at 45 News Utah on what happened in Colorado. Remember, everything that happens in these situations affects you and will always affect you directly in your life. So you have to know the truth. You have to know what's happening. And people have to dare to do that. So, hey, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys have a great morning. I will get back with you in just a little bit. And remember, share, like 45 News Utah.